Hello and welcome back to the Tony Snow Show, where awkward meets authentic. I am, of course, your host, Tony. So I know y'all wondering where I've been, why I've been off so long. And that's because, one, I went on vacation. I took my parents to celebrate their birthday, me and my little brother.
I'll be heading up in the wild, chilling low key.
You want champagne?
We're waiting for the golf course, so just wait right there.
Oh, it's separate from everybody else. Hold on, really get some good stuff. And then after that, my children had spring break. So, I was out here being the best mother I could possibly be. So that was a couple of things that I had did. So, y'all go ahead, get y'all drinks or whatever. I got a little bit of to catch you guys up on. And I hope y'all prepared. All right. So let's get started. Y'all, I got these new gadgets. And I'm like, hella excited about it. Hella excited. All right, so where did I go? Well, I went to DR. I went to the Dominican Republic. So this was an amazing time for us. I had the opportunity to really get out there and spend time with my dad. We hadn't done that in years. Um, the views were amazing. I mean, they were spectacular. Just gliding through the jungle. I would have never thought that today that I would be able to do this with my parents. I've always wanted to take them to do something like this. Look at my dad. But it was great to have them out there. We did about 12 different zip lines. My mom only made it to 6, her and my brother. But that was cool though, because the rest of the time, me and my dad, we were out there together. My mom got stuck. Like she was pulling on her brake too soon and she got caught. I had to tell her, hey girl, we gotta get it together. You're gonna be hanging over the trees. So it took her just one time and she finally got that together. But the girl had fun. I was so proud of her. Look at my mom. Look at her go. She was just out there swinging. Look at her. And she had never done anything like that ever before. And she go out with 2 of her most adventurous children. And baby, we had them out there gliding away. But it was great though. Like I'm glad I had this opportunity. Both of my parents' birthdays. Look, that was my brother. He got stung. Both of my parents' birthday. My mom's was the 4th of March. My dad was the 28th of February. Look at her. Woo, Barbara. He was over there just catching in all the views. But this is the beautiful Punta Cana. She was a champ. I had to let her know, girl, that's it. No tea, no shade, that's it, girl. You can't keep. Look at her. She had done got stuck and literally had to pull herself back in. Well, that's my mom, my dad, the people who made me. For a while. Stayed at a nice resort called The Dreams. I'm thinking about putting a vlog together. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to see. I'm going to really try my hardest to do what. So on that trip, I surprised my parents. They did not know that I was coming. And what's crazy is I ended up waiting in customs for 2 hours. They had done landed, done went through customs, passed me up. They didn't see me, passed me up. And so I had to surprise them when I had got over to the other side. They were like shopping for souvenirs and stuff. And like my dad had told my mom and my brother that he had thought he had saw me. Like he had saw the back of my head or something like that. And my brother kind of just shooed him on and was like, Daddy, that ain't her. Like, Felicia back home. And so when I came in, I wound up tapping him on his shoulder. And he was like, Barbara, look, I told you I saw that girl. I told you. And my mother was just so overly excited. It was like, oh my God, you here, my baby here. So it started out for a great trip. Once we got there and got everything settled in, we wound up having this very, very beautiful family villa. It was gorgeous. We had premier access, so we had our own private butler to chauffeur us around and just give us all the 5-star treatment. And a girl really enjoyed herself. While we were there, me and my dad, we were able to dig into some things. And I said previously in my last episode that I was preparing myself mentally to go there. And so the work that I had done put in, making sure that I'm taking the right medication and all of that stuff so that I could be in a space where that I could be receptive to whatever my dad had to say, and that I didn't have any other blockers that was preventing me from having that conversation. And so we wound up having it over a dinner. It was the family. And I was really able to dig into some things and really express to him, how I felt. And one of those things that I dug into was how he made me feel during my divorce. And I never had the opportunity to tell him because one, I didn't understand why that was something that needed to be said. Like, I'm your child, I'm your daughter, right? And you supposed to be on my side, but instead you over there with the ops. And I didn't understand that. And his response to that was he felt like my ex-husband needed someone on his side. So he got a whole family, and they supported him. And he had friends, and they supported him. I didn't have friends, right? I don't know if that's how it was meant to be set up in my marriage, but I didn't have friends. I didn't have nobody to go run and talk to this stuff through. Me and my mother was not on the best of terms. We were still learning each other. And so I really felt alone. And I needed my father there to protect me. So I had to express that to him. And he definitely understood, and he apologized. And he said going forward, he's going to ask me, how am I? What do I need? Because he never asked me that. He never asked me, not once, how I felt going through that divorce. And, he said that he didn't want me to get a divorce. And I was like, you know what? My mother almost, she was about to step in, and he had to tell her, now we got this. But I really, that wasn't the time for me to dig in on why that was a very hurtful comment. And that's because I think he has a certain sense of compassion for my ex-husband because he kind of did some of the same physical abusive things that my dad did to my mother. So I think he had some sort of empathy there. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So that just wasn't the time to talk about it. And to be quite frank, I don't even know if that's going to be a subject that I'm going to rehash with him because it's done, right? It's out the way. I'm never going back to that relationship. So it is what it is. But just to hear the apology and taking accountability of his actions meant the world to me because at one point I didn't think that I needed that. But then on the other hand, I did need to make peace with that because I just couldn't understand how you could do this to your child. Yeah, you hear all these stories, about things that parents do to their kids. I get it. I understand, but I still have those feelings of how could you do this? And so, again, I was glad that he took that accountability of that. Then I told him the icing on the cake was the whole situation with me getting a car in my name for him and him not paying it and getting repossessed and getting on my credit and the things that I had to do to get all that removed, and how he was very insensitive about that. I was going through a divorce, didn't have anything, and I'm trying to help you out while I'm trying to pull myself from the bottom, and you take advantage of that. And so he apologized for that, and I left it as that. So now that next step in this relationship is your actions have to match what you said. Like, just be a better person. Just be, not only to me, but to my other siblings. Just be a better person. So that was a relief for me to just really sit there and look him in the face and tell him, this is how you made your child feel. And I think that was a block in my creativity as a person, because this is a man that I looked up to as a child, and then was the man that broke my heart and, lead you on to this, all niggas ain't shit. Well, they aren't. They aren't. But for it to be so close to home, and then it be a repeated pattern of other men that come into your life, you just like, all right, whatever. My dad did some fucked up shit. Like, that man said some fucked up shit to me growing up. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. I told him when I had graduated that I had got raped my senior year back in Jasper. And this fool told me, well, I probably deserved it. And I harbored and I held on to that for a long time, all up into my adulthood. Until I started seeking a therapist and talking to a therapist about it, and just letting that shit go. And understanding that it had a correlation of some things that happened to him, and I think he may have went to someone and told them, and he probably had got that response. And I know some very traumatic things have happened to my father in his past, and that does not give him an excuse or a reason to treat anyone else badly or poorly. But it does put perspective in a lot of things, and it allows me to give grace when grace is given, because of me knowing and him sharing some horrific things that happened to him and things that he did when, he was addicted to drugs and cocaine and alcohol and stuff of that nature. He did a lot of things. And just think of how traumatic that was for me growing up in the 90s of a child of a crack addict. I mean, it is what it is. That's what it was. And I am the oldest of that, and I am seeing all of that, and I am trying to protect my siblings from that. And that's a lot of trauma. And then to grow up and then hear his stories of what he was going through that time, I'm just like, wow. Wow. But it still don't justify you for not being shit in certain situations. So I also realized that I have a lot of him in me. And he does have some great qualities about him. He's a very giving person. He will give the shirt off of his back. I've seen it. He's a very giving person. He has a big heart. And that is an attribute of his that I have picked up. I'm a natural giver. I just love to give in any way, form, or capacity. And so I can thank him for certain qualities. Just having the ability. And also, my father is ADHD, and so I get this from him, by the way. And so understanding that part of his life and how it affects him and how he thinks and his rationale and things of that nature, it helps. It helps a lot. So it was a good conversation. Great conversation. So what else I got over here for you guys? I do want to dive a little bit into how I have been managing my ADHD. I said I was going to give like little checkups here and there. So far, it's been great. I did increase my dosage and then brought it back down because I kind of want to see how that, regulates, how that makes me feel. A lot of clarity, a lot of being able to manage my emotions and not be as compulsive as I have been before. And I really, really love that part. I really love that part of me, and I really love where that is going. It's been such a very interesting journey being neurodivergent. It's been very interesting. Understanding that I do not look at the world in the same lenses as everyone else and accepting that, right? And what has also helped with that is I have started reading this book called The Artist's Way. It's new to me because I just found out about it, and it may be old to some. And if you do not know anything about it, I recommend that you go and you check it out. And I decided that I wanted to work this book with my therapist and let it be a part of my therapy. And her and I discussed week 1 last week, and every one of my check-ins we will discuss the things that I am doing, because this is how I want to guide my therapy. And I found out that I struggle with this little hater in me, and she told me that I got to give it a name, and eventually I will. I don't know what I'm going to give it yet, but that hoe is treacherous. And it's that little part of me, because y'all already know, y'all got Felipe, y'all got Sade, y'all got Felicia, the infamous Tony, Tay-Tay, and then there is this little hater. Everybody has one. You may not have as multiple personalities as I do, because I am the greatest of all time. But you may have that little hater that be on the side that be trying to like sabotage. And so me and my therapist really dived into that, because that little thing is what hinders me from being great. And The Artist's Way, this book really makes you sit with self. It really makes you dive into that trauma that is blocking your creativity. And it also allows you to like dump, like have negative dumps and like journals and stuff. And one day I decided to go back, which is a no-no. And because I was just so curious about how I view and think of myself. And I feel like I be in a trance when I be writing and stuff. And I just came up with like the most craziest things. So I'm going to be transparent with y'all, because why? This is where authentic meets awkward. So some of the random things I was writing there, I felt that I wasn't pretty enough to get on camera. Now, girl, where she get that from, I don't know, because I sit there and I pump myself up every day. But yet I had wrote that down. I talked about my voice was too deep and it was too manly. I talked about how I've picked up weight over the years. Just a lot of self-image that I didn't think I suffered with. Because I feel like I have a lot of high self-esteem, and I never realized that I picked myself apart unbeknownst to me, and then I stopped myself from moving forward. So not only was I picking myself apart the way that I look, because girl serves face. I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, she serves face. I was also picking apart my intellect, right? I went to college. I went to a university, PV, shout out. And I also started my MBA, and I stopped, and I literally have 1 credit from having it. And it's just because I just decided that I didn't need it, or whatever. And so sometimes I insult myself, I insult my intelligence on how intelligent I am because of something that I stopped to do, because I chose not to continue higher education. And so I tell myself, well, I can't do. And so this is where the self-doubt sets in. Career, I put limits on myself when I can do much more. And it's because it's just that little hater on the other side is like chirping in my ear. And so my therapist, is working with me with that because it's very, very strong. And it's this, in the book, it teaches you to like really lean in on quotes, motivational quotes. There we go. I knew it was going to come. Shout out. You got it, Tony girl. Come on. HBCU, higher education. Motivational quotes. And so I have them to combat that hater. And like, the book even calls it out. It says, everybody's going to think, it's hokey dokey and gimmicky and all of this crap, I'm the first. I think like that too on a lot of things, but if it works, it works. That's just like AA meetings. They got this book, and if you keep working the process, it actually works. Yeah, it's the same. And so I never thought that I would come across something that actually teaches you creativity, teaches you how to be creative again, and it's helping me tackle those fears, and that's what I'm doing. And I love the fact that I can work this with my therapist, because a lot of people quit therapy because it's not self-led. I use my therapist as a journal, my dumping ground, right? Whatever's going on in my life, this is what we're going to talk about, plus these other things and yada, yada, yada. And I highly, highly encourage that you go and you find a therapist that allows you to have this self-guided therapy, because they're going to help you along the way and give you the tools that you need. But shout out to my therapist. Shout out to her. So as I'm working this book, I do this thing called morning pages, where you do 3 pages of like a mental dump, and you just write whatever. And I'm gonna be honest, like I missed a couple of days in the week, and then I went in and tried to do afternoon pages, and it helps you develop a routine. Like, I already get up as the ass a crack in the morning, right? And now you want me to get up an hour early on top of that. Well, it's helping with discipline. It's helping with you maximize the amount of hours that you have in your day and things of that nature. And so I'm doing it. I'm doing the book. I'm doing the workbook. And I'm having my therapist be my accountability person to help me navigate this. So I wanted to touch that with you guys so y'all can see. All right, and she's back. Came back from a quick little break. I know y'all seen this stuff that was going on in the Breakfast Club later part, like last week, some part, with Just Hilarious. Lauren LaRosa, that's her name. Lauren LaRosa. Jess had went on live to express her grievances about how she felt when she came back off of maternity leave to work. Now, there are 2 parts to this for me, because I have been in her position, and I've also been in the position, her peers. I've been on both sides. And this is where I give her grace. And this is where I think that we should give all black women a grace. And I don't think that there was even a right or a wrong way for Jess to address it how she did. I don't think there was a wrong and a right way. People say, well, maybe she should have did it off closed doors, yada, yada, yada. But y'all did the disrespect in front of everyone. So why should she not address it in front of everyone, right? And then I understand, okay, well, let's keep it cute. That's what they want us to do. They want us to look like that we're bickering and this, and that. So let's do it behind closed doors. I understand that too. So you're both are right. But also in the same breath, I don't think we should knock Jess for the way that she approached it and be like, oh, she should get fired and this, and the third. I don't think that at all. Because like I said, they disrespected her in public. She disrespected them back in public and told them exactly how she felt. This happened to me at my job on actually 2 occasions. And the last occasion, I came off of a leave, and then there was a whole nother person there with the same title as me doing my job. And no one told me this before I came back to work, and gave this person a whole different story of who I was. And, I went and I called it out. And I called it out with him. Like, hey, what's good? Like, I don't want to have no issue with you, but, yo, this my shit. So how it's going to be two chiefs? Like, what's going on? And, he broke it down to me, and I was like, okay, my grievances isn't with you. Thank you for being honest. And then I went to the person, because I had a relationship with them, and expressed my grievances and told them, like, y'all was dead wrong. So I get it. I understand. And if I did not have that relationship with that person where I could go and express my grievances to them, I would have pulled a Jess and I would have aired everybody out on that. So I get I understand it, right? And I don't think we should beat her up for that. At all. We shouldn't do it in private, in public. She shouldn't get a slap on the hand for that, because her disrespect was just as loud as their disrespect was to her. And for people to play stupid and play coy and all of that, y'all wrong for that. That was like gaslighting at its finest. And we sat back and we watched it. And, why I keep Lauren. And Lauren had every right to feel how she felt, because, yes, Jessica's anger was very much so misplaced. And so Lauren was absolutely right to check her on it, right? Because Jess going crazy talking about you over talking to me, and I got to tell you to shut up or shut your mouth. Like, that's a whole grown woman. I was like, all right, Jess, I'm with you when you right. And I'm going to tell you when you're wrong. And, girl, you was dead wrong on that. Both of these women bring something totally different to the Breakfast Club. And to be quite honest, I never really listened to it, I kind of stopped listening to it years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And when Lauren did come on, I did start tuning in a little bit more, because I get the comedic side of it. I get the messy side of it. But I also wanted to be educated as well. And so I like that healthy balance. I think it's a place for all of them. And I'm glad that Lauren and Jess were able to mend that on air in front of everybody. Excuse me. And whether or not they agree, it may be fake or whatever, but they definitely putting on a good show for the public. But yeah, I think both of them were right with the way that they responded to it, and it was definitely the organization's fault for doing that. I think Lauren should have called them out on that too, as well. So that's that. March Madness. If y'all don't know, you know now. I love sports, hands down. But March Madness, like, it's getting really crazy out there. My girl Juju got hurt. She's out for the season. She tore her ACL. Like, that girl is a great player. She has a great future in front of her, and I wish her nothing but success and healing. So wish her healing out there. UConn, we got UConn coming in. We got Paige. She's a senior this year. And, she's looking to get this title before she leaves. So UConn really going in there and shaking up some stuff. But a lot of people got UConn winning it, too. I think we need to talk about TCU. I've been following the Frogs. Go Frogs. I've been following them since Haley has came over. So let me be honest. Since Haley has came over, I've been watching them. They really got some good shooters over there. They got a good post player with Sedona. And I think that that's a good duo that's going on. A lot of people are concerned that they're not going to be able to beat Notre Dame. But if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to double check my facts on this. If I'm not mistaken, I believe, I don't want that. I believe TCU beat Notre Dame earlier in the year. Like, I'm for sure that happened. So let me go see. Yeah, we did. Yes. So TCU beat Notre Dame. This was back in November. It was 76-68. Let me see that. But anyways, yeah. So they beat them, and like everybody think it's supposed to be, they supposed to run through them. Like I don't know what that is. I don't know what's happening with that. So TCU meets Notre Dame in the Sweet 16. I'm thinking TCU is going to make it to the Elite 8. So Texas is going to play Tennessee. That should be an easy win right there. The Lady Volvos, they are going to play hard. Like, they've been playing hard all season. North Carolina and Duke. I'm going to ride with North Carolina on that one. Just because they've been here before. I know Duke has had a good run, but I think they're going to run out of steam. Of course, South Carolina is going to knock out Maryland. I think UConn, Oklahoma, that's going to be a quick win. I don't think it's going to be an easy win. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter, but I think they're going to give them their all. Now that Juju is out, Kansas State may actually have a chance. They may have one. At first, the odds were going more towards Southern California, but now with that major injury of Juju, the odds have went down. Surprisingly, LSU beat Florida State. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. It did. So LSU went in, and they're going to play NC State. That's going to be a really great matchup. You got Flange. You got that young lady, number 24. Morrow, I believe her name. She plays down in the post. You got Morrow. You got Kitts over there. But then on that NC State team, you got Rivers. And I'm gonna be quite honest. Like Rivers and what's the other young lady? It's another one over there with them. That's gonna be a good matchup. Like NC State been coming out swinging. They like started at the bottom in the very beginning, and they've come out and they have really been making it difficult. So I think, and it's a number 3, number 2 seed. So that's definitely gonna be a great game to watch. UCLA, Ole Miss. It ain't gonna be no battle there. So I did 3 brackets by USC bracket. I might as well say it's up out of there. I do have Texas winning it all. I did not go with my good old Dawn Stanley this year. I didn't. It is something about that Texas team. Brooks, Harmon, Acre. Oh, I was about to mess that baby name up. They really got something good over there. Harmon is a senior. She's getting ready to... No, Brooke. Yeah, Harmon is a senior. Yeah. And then we got the MVP over there. So if you haven't been watching March Madness, you need to. All right, guys. Thank y'all for coming back and watching my video. I hope y'all got a little bit today. To all of my awkward people out there, stay authentic. Stay authentic. Be you, because God only made one you. Go check out that book that I told you about. Go check it out. Also, make sure you share this video. If you have not already subscribed to my podcast, make sure you go subscribe to my podcast. Oh, I'm going to get it out eventually. I'm going to get it out. All right. Love, peace, and chicken grease.